Hi, this is Jeff Crilley with the Real News Communications Network, and I am so honored to have Liffort Hobley. He's a former NFL great and now the president of the NFL Alumni Association for DFW and into Louisiana.
Yes, thanks, Jeff, for having me on the show.
Well, I'm thrilled, and I know everybody's heard of the NFL Alumni Association, but they probably aren't familiar with how active you guys are and what you do.
Well, I tell you what, the organization was built on basically taking care of their own, and of course we wanted to get out in the community, so we added caring for kids. So over the course of so many 50 years, I'm sure we've raised millions of dollars for nonprofit organizations, including our own, which we are nonprofit,
Yes.
to help our own guys in certain situations. So it's a great opportunity for 35 presidents around the country to champion the cause of helping our guys get back into mainstream America after football.
I love it, and let's talk about that because it is an adjustment, isn't it? Some players go out on their own free will, and others it's an injury or early retirement.
It is. It's a for some it's a short career.
Mm-hmm.
You get to live your dream as long as possibly, sometimes 2 to 3 years, sometimes 10 to 15. Lucky for me, I had an 8-year career in the NFL, and I was adjusted enough to make the transition a lot basically smooth, really smooth for me. I'm one of the
Yes.
1%ers out of that industry that got lucky enough to work for an NFL team right after he walks off the football field.
And it's important for an athlete to have others who can identify, because you could tell your story to somebody who's a mechanic or a CPA, but they can't relate.
Well, that's true. That's
Right.
true. It's basically one of those things where you leave college and you're actually going into an industry that's, basically the acronym speaks for itself.
Right.
NFL, not for long. So
I love it. Hey, let's talk about your career, because we have some old footage and some old pictures of you. So
LSU freshman year in 1980, ended up 1 year on basic we would call IR in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Redshirted my sophomore year, blew out my shoulder, came back to an amazing career after that, all SEC the next 3 years, preseason Playboy All-American, and I didn't count it, but if you're not on the first team All-American team, I just kind of threw that aside.
and your NFL career.
NFL career started out basically, really, like a lot of kids, you jump into this great industry and you think, oh, I got it made. And then, of course, me getting drafted by the Steelers was like a lifetime dream.
Sure.
I was a big fan of the Steelers as a kid, and having great people come out of my hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana, like Terry Bradshaw and Mike Anderson, and of course, a lot of other guys that played in the NFL. We're like a factory up there.
Sure.
You got 250,000 people, and the majority of the NFL is made up of a lot of Shreveport grown athletes. And of course, in North Louisiana, I think we probably have more NFL players out of that small community in North Louisiana than any other little city in the country.
Okay, but your career with the Steelers didn't last long.
Didn't last long. Lasted about 3 weeks of training camp.
So what happened?
I don't know. It's one of those, you think you're a third rounder, you think you got it made.
Right.
But, it's a job, so you got to perform, you got to be effective, you got to get noticed.
Right.
I don't think I got noticed very much other than getting that check when I first signed there, but it was kind of like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
You get fired and you move on. It took me a minute to catch that, but after that I really got focused and I moved on to the St. Louis Cardinals for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then had to make a decision what I wanted to do after that. It was basically picking the right team, and with the people behind me like Bill Onsbarger, who was my college coach my senior year.
Yeah.
I have to say I learned more from him in 8 months than I've learned in a lifetime about football and defenses and all the things that came along with it, plus the information that he shared with me. Son, this is a job. Yes. You go to work every day like it's a job. It's not fun, and don't look at it that way. Look at it as a job, and you'll be fine. And I took that advice when I went to Miami, treated it like a job, professionally, and continued to have a long career with the Dolphins of 7 years.
I love it. I love it. And many NFL careers never last that long.
Not at all. Today, I think the basically net would be 2.8 years for players.
Wow.
Today, not because the game has changed, but because the market value of the players have changed. So
Yes,
it's a
yes.
different revenue stream. It's amazing what has happened over the past 20 years.
Yes.
Where today you can walk around freely and say someone's making $5 million, and it doesn't really it doesn't matter what their names are.
Right.
It just matters that they are.
Well, let's go back to the NFL Alumni Association. Why is this chapter so large and so active?
I tell you what, I think Dallas, Fort Worth community, with Plano, Frisco, Carrollton, Southlake, Colleyville, all of these small towns being amazing places
Yes.
to live, and plus it doesn't hurt that Texas is a tax-free state. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, and then of course it doesn't hurt that Texas, we may complain a little bit about property tax, but try living in California, Florida, and New York.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You're really a blessing to the sport and a blessing to all retired NFL athletes.
Jeff, thank you for inviting me, and definitely looking forward to doing some more with you in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Jeff Crilley, and this has been a broadcast of the Real News Communications Network. We'll see you next time.